Hi, it's Barb, Meeple PhD, coming to you with another Cosmic Game Connection. This past January, astronomers reported results of an object called AT 2018 COW, which they have dubbed the Cow. This space cow, if you will, was a transient object, something that brightened up quickly and then started fading over time. It was first observed by the Atlas telescope in Hawaii on June 16, 2018. And over the course of a few days, it produced an explosion of light at least 10 times brighter than a typical supernova. It's been traced back to be either in or near a galaxy about 200 million light years away. Now, when astronomers saw that this was an unusual object, they quickly turned a bunch of different telescopes on it to try and capture it in as many different wavelengths of light as possible, from radio, optical light, ultraviolet, X-ray, and gamma rays. Now, different groups took whatever data they had available to them and came up with some different ideas of what the cow could be. One possibility is that it's a supernova explosion, but in a way that we haven't really seen one before. Normally, when a massive star runs out of fuel at the end of its life, its core collapses into a neutron star or black hole, and its outer layers expand away from it into space. Those expanding layers are so thick, so dense, that we can't see through to that black hole or neutron star, not for a very long time. But the hypothesis here is that maybe those outer layers aren't very dense, and we can actually see through and see material falling onto that black hole or neutron star. A somewhat more exotic possibility is that what we were witnessing was a white dwarf star getting shredded by a black hole. Now, I don't know which one of these is correct, and maybe it's something else entirely. When I was doing research for this video, it seems that the supernova explosion might be the favored one right now, but they haven't been able to rule out the possibility that it's this white dwarf being shredded by a black hole. And I saw a couple of other hypotheses out there as well. We're going to just have to wait for some additional data, or even discovering another object like this one, either in real time or in archival data, before we'll really know what was going on in this source. When I was thinking of the cow and the varying ideas of what caused this event, the game that came to mind was Mysterium. In Mysterium, one player is a ghost, and the rest are psychic investigators trying to figure out who murdered that ghost. The game is set up with a number of different possible murderers, locations, and weapons that could have done the ghost in. Over the course of 7 rounds, the ghost tries to point each investigator to a unique set of person, place, and object, using only vision cards, these crazy dreams that the investigators are having each night. In each round, the ghost hands out 1 or more vision cards to each investigator, which they then use to figure out which card the ghost is trying to point them to. Players get a chance to vote on how well they think their fellow investigators did in an effort to move themselves up on a psychic track. And then once everyone has voted, they point one by one to each investigator's marker and see if they're correct or not. In the first round, everyone is trying to figure out who their specific murderer is. If their guess is not correct at the end of the round, they will continue to get additional visions about the murderer in the next round. However, if they are correct, they get to move on and start guessing on the location, and then later on the weapon. At the end of 7 rounds, if everyone has figured out their unique set of murderer, location, and weapon, then the ghost secretly picks one of them that is the actual scenario of how they died. The ghost picks one final set of 3 vision cards that the investigators will use to try and figure out which one was the final answer. However, not all investigators will get to see all 3 of those cards. They may only get to see 1 or 2, depending on how far they got on the psychic track. Everyone does a secret vote, and if the majority gets the right answer, everybody wins. If not, everybody loses. So those psychic cards are insane. It's often very hard to figure out what the ghost is trying to tell you. Are they going for a general feeling of the card? Is there some color you should be picking out, or a shape that's common among all of them? Or maybe there's some tiny detail that you should notice that would point you towards a particular person or a particular location. And often you'll get a gut feeling about what you think the ghost is trying to tell you, and then one of the other investigators will start talking about the card and talk you out of your gut feeling, for better or worse. And it's that varying interpretation of those cards that made me think of the scientists trying to determine what's going on in the cow. So the next time you pull out Mysterium and you start hearing all the investigators talking about the different interpretations of their cards, take just a minute and appreciate how difficult it is for these scientists looking at different forms of data and trying to figure out what's going on in this space cow. Thanks for joining me. If you have any questions about the science or the game that I presented, please leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer some of them. I'll be coming at you again with another Cosmic Game Connection, but in the meantime, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook as @MeeplePhD, and you can follow my blog at meeplephd.com. The murderer. You okay? Everybody is fired. The dog is fired. The cats are fired.